On this channel, I talk a lot about being accredited, accreditation. So for those of you who don't know what it means, let me break it down for you in this video. I will be talking about what an accredited course is and why it's important to do a course that's accredited. And then I'm going to talk about what an accredited status is and what a registered status is once you're qualified, because they are different. So let's get into it. So let's talk about what it means for a course to have an accredited status, starting with the definition of what accreditation is. So this is the action or process of officially recognizing someone as having a particular status or being qualified to perform a particular activity. So when I go on and on and on about making sure that your course is accredited, it means that the course has been vetted and created to align with the accrediting body standards. And in the UK, we have quite a few accrediting bodies for counselling and psychotherapy training. So those accrediting bodies are known as governing bodies, and we have the BACP, which I talk about quite a lot, the UKCP, NCPS, and HCPC. But the BACP is probably the most popular one, and they accredit most of the counselling courses in the UK. So when a course is accredited, it means that what you're being taught in your lessons is up to the industry standard set by the governing body, who basically set the standard of all the training, so that what you learn in your lessons and in your courses is going to be applicable for you when you start actually working in the industry and in your field. And also, once you do a course that's accredited by one of these governing bodies, especially the BACP, it means then you can become a registered member of that governing body once you've finished a course that's accredited by them. So once you complete a course maybe accredited by the BACP, then you can register to become a member of the BACP and be qualified as a member of the BACP. I don't know about all the other governing bodies, but I know that with the BACP, even if the training you do is not accredited by them, you can still do an exam after your course, which then allows you to become a member of the BACP. And I did a video on this, which will be linked in the description box. It's known as the Certificate of Proficiency exam, which then allows you to still be a member of the BACP even if your course is not accredited by them. And being a member of a governing body is something that employers look for all the time, so it's going to be quite hard for you to get a job if you're not a member of the BACP, UKCP, or even the NCS. So make sure that your course is accredited or that you have some level of accreditation if you would like to work for a company. So it's not only important for your studies, not only does it make the process a bit easier for you, but it's also, it just makes things easier for you when you're looking for a job, and it's important to employers that you are part of a governing body as a member. So no matter who accredits your course, whether it's a BACP, UKCP, or whoever, make sure someone is accrediting that course before you embark on it. But if you already have, like I said, no worries, I've got a video for that which will be in the description box. So that's basically what it means to do a course that's accredited and why it's important to do a course that's accredited. So now let's move on to talking about the difference between having an accredited status and having a registered status once you're qualified and you've completed your training. So starting with the registered status for counsellors and therapists, the registered status is obtained by completing a minimum of 100 supervised client hours, which is normally through your placement when you're in training. Sometimes you can also acquire a maximum of like 200 or 250 hours, especially at master's level. We were allowed to work up to 250 hours, I think, I can't remember correctly, and then you could qualify with those hours and be a registered member. The limit, I think, is 300 hours at PhD level, but of course this all depends on the requirements of each governing body. But my course was accredited by the BACP, so that was the standard they set, that we had to have a minimum of 100 or a maximum of like 250 for the duration of our master's degree. So having a registered status with any governing body means that you're a qualified counsellor or therapist and you can work with clients in a professional setting. However, the only difference is whether you have 100 hours, 200 hours, or 250 hours. That will be up to you and the requirements of your course or how long your training is for. Now, an accredited status means that you have obtained 450 supervised client hours. However, I used to think that PhD students had to acquire 450 hours before they qualified. But I think I was reading through the BACP website recently, and they don't acquire 450 hours during their training. I think they're allowed to get up to 300 or 350 hours during their doctorate, but they have to get the rest after they qualify and they finish their training. So 450 hours is quite hard to work towards, but either way, accredited status means that anybody who's qualified has acquired 450 supervised client hours through placement and their post-training work, whether paid or unpaid. I hope that makes sense. So anybody and everybody can work towards accredited status. So whether you completed your training with 100 hours, 200 hours or 300 hours, you can still then, after you've finished your training, work towards getting the remaining hours that would take you to 450 hours. But there's a procedure that you have to go through. You have to be observed and you have to give documents and be observed that you're doing the hours and that you can explain how you work and provide all of this evidence, and you can build up your hours gradually and then reach accredited status. So this has to be done while you're actively working with clients after you've qualified at whatever level. So accredited status basically means that you have more experience with clients essentially, and you have more hours to show for that experience. That's all the difference is. However, of course, it looks better, like I said in my video where we were job hunting recently, which will be in the description box, that a lot of employers these days are looking for therapists and counsellors who are at accredited status rather than registered status, which is why it's also proving a bit hard to get some jobs, because when people qualify, they're not at accredited status. It's something they have to work towards after their qualification. So that's why it's so difficult to get jobs at the moment for counsellors and therapists. So all I'm going to say is that whatever numbers, whether it's 100 hours, 200 hours, check with your governing body what the protocol is towards getting accredited status, when it needs to be done, and what it entails, because it probably will be slightly different for each governing body. However, I may do a video just to make it easier for you guys. So leave in the comment section accredited status and I'll make a video on it. And also, I do believe something that I've read in the past is that you have a time limit for how long it should take you to become accredited after you've started the process. So when you're working towards accredited status, you have a window of, I think, 3 years to get the remaining hours that you need in order to reach the 450 hours. So it could be that you've got 3 years to get another 200 hours or 250 hours or 150 hours that you need to reach the 450 hours that allows you to have the accredited status. Of course, like I said, this will be different for every governing body. I think for the BACP, their window is 3 years post-qualification. So I know this is a lot of information to take in, but essentially the difference between accredited status and registered status is the amount of hours that you have under your belt as a trainee and post-qualification. So I hope that clarified a lot of things for you guys. And until the next video, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and your night, depending on where you are in the world. Until then, bye guys.